Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Welcome to Temple Emanu-El, to our wonderful Bethel Chapel. Whether you are here in person or joining us online, we are so glad you have chosen to celebrate this evening with us. I'm Rabbi Andy Kahn, joined on the bima by student Rabbi Emma Dubin and our senior cantor, Mo Glasman. Tonight is Shabbat Zahor. The Shabbat before Purim is always Shabbat Zahor, and Shabbat Zahor is about remembering Amalek. For those of you who don't know, Amalek in the Torah was a nation that was seen as the antithesis of the Israelites. They were a malign force in the world. They cut down the Israelites as they were fleeing Egypt from behind, attacking the weakest people in the nation. And they are commanded by God for us to remember to wipe them out. But Amalek is significantly more than an ancient nation that may or may not have even existed. Amalek is a force that exists in all of humanity. It is the opposing force of the dream of the people of Israel, which is that we are to be a light to the nations, and Amalek is the darkness that we are to cast out from within ourselves and to cast out from the world around us. But Jews are not impervious to Amalek's influence. Just this week, we saw the latest example, as extremist settlers in Israel committed what Israel's commander of the West Bank called a pogrom, supported by the minister of Knesset, Bezalel Smotrich, against the Palestinian village of Huwara, allegedly as retaliation for the murder of 2 young Israelis. That impulse to harm, to punish, to destroy, to wield power for power's sake is the core of Amalek. Let us remember tonight on Shabbat Zahor, the Shabbat of remembrance, that it is up to us to cast out that darkness by being the light. Please join me on page 51 responsively. Come, let us welcome the Sabbath. May its radiance warm our hearts as we kindle these tapers. Light is the symbol of God's presence in our lives. The Eternal One is our light and our salvation. Light is the symbol of the holiness within each of us. The human spirit is the light of God. Light is the symbol of the Torah's teachings, for the commandment is a lamp and the Torah is a light. Light is the symbol of Israel's mission, as it is written, I have made you a covenant people to serve as a light to the nations. Therefore, in the spirit of our ancient tradition that hallows and unites Israel in all lands and all ages, we kindle the lights of Shabbat.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu להדליק נר של Shabbat.
Now that we've kindled these lights of Shabbat, let's kindle light inside of each other. Turn around, say hello, introduce yourself to someone you don't know. Say Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Good Shabbos. And we will now join our voices together with our Psalms of Shabbat, beginning with L'chuna Ranana on page 55, followed by Zamru Ladonai on page 59.
L'chuna Ranana Ladonai, Naria, Letzor Ishenu. L'chuna Ranana Ladonai, Naria Letzor Ishenu. Nekad mafanav v'toda bizmirot nariya lo. L'chuna ranana l'Adonai, nariya letzur yishenu. Nekad mafanav v'toda bizmirot nariya lo. Ki el gadol Adonai, umelech gadol al kol Elohim, asher biyado mikare aretz v'toav orarim lo. Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la ya la la, ya la ya la la, ya la la la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la la, ya la la la. Amarito v'tzon yado. Zamru Ladonai.
Page 59.
Zamru Ladonai bechino. Ya ya da da da. Ya ya da da da. Ya da ya da da da. Da ya da da da. Ya da ya da da da. Da
Please rise.
Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi agit tehilatecha. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Elohei avotenu v'imotenu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka, Elohei Leah, Elohei Rachel, Ha'el Agadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, Eleyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'konei Hakol, V'zocher Chastei Avot v'Imahot, ומביא גאולה לפני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן. ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם בעזרת שרה.
Together in the English below. Eternal is thy power, O Lord. Thou art mighty to save. In loving kindness thou sustainest the living. In the multitude of thy mercies thou preservest all. Thou upholdest the falling and healest the sick, freest the captives and keepest faith with thy children in death as in life. Who is like unto thee, Almighty God, author of life and death, source of salvation? We trust in thee to restore our life. Praise be thou, O Lord, who hast implanted within us eternal life. As we reflect on the capacity for regeneration built in to the world, perhaps by a divine creator, perhaps emergent, we think of those who are in need of just such regeneration. Anyone who you are thinking of this evening, be it an individual, a community, in need of healing of the mind, the body, the spirit, I invite you to share their names with us now. You may be seated as we continue on page 125, the Misha Berach, our prayer for healing.
Shabbat Avotenu, Abraham, Yitzchak v'Yaakov. Mi sheberach imotenu, Sarah, Rivka, Leah v'Rachel. May the one who blessed our mothers, blessed our fathers, hear our prayer, hear our prayer, hear our prayer, hear our prayer, and bless us as well. Bless us with the power of your healing. Bless us with the power of your hope. May our hearts be filled with understanding and strengthened by the power of your love. Mi sheberach avotenu, Abraham, Yitzchak v'Yaakov. Shabbat imotenu, Sarah, Rivka, Leah, Rachel. May the one who blessed our fathers, hear our prayer, hear our prayer, hear our prayer, hear our prayer, and bless us as well. Hear our prayer, hear our prayer, hear our prayer, hear our prayer. Mi Shabbat.
Continue now with our silent prayer. They're guided by the meditations beginning on page 129 or the prayers of our own hearts.
Anim smirot v'shirim erog ki elecha nafshi tarog ki nafshi taro, nafshi chamda b'tzei yadecha, ladar koros odecha. Nafshi tarog. Al ken adaber b'chanich badot v'shimcha chaben b'shirei yedidot. Nafshi tarok. Shabbat Shalom. It was Don McLean in American Pie who asked if music could save our mortal souls. In Jennifer Finney Boylan's New York Times opinion piece, her answer is probably not. She writes, music can help us to time travel, and not only to our adolescent past. So maybe reconsidering songs sung by disturbed artists can inspire us to think about the future and how to bring about a world that is more inclusive and just. Today I want to talk about the tension that exists between art and the artist, and how this tension affects the way we view, hear, and appreciate art. You see, in this week's Torah portion, Tetzaveh, we're privy to the instructions given to Moses regarding the fabrication of priestly garments. The Torah describes in great detail the clothing that the priests are supposed to wear when they perform their duties in their tabernacle. A breastplate, a gold frontlint, a fringed tunic, a headdress, a sash, and linen breeches. The clothing was meant to be beautiful and intricate, with special attention paid to color and materials and design. The instructions to Moses, however, included nothing about who could design and fabricate the garments. The emphasis was purely on the aesthetic and the function. And while Bezalel and Oholiab designed the tabernacle and all of its furnishings, the designer of the particular vestments are somewhat unclear. There's no concrete mention of the artist, only the art. And yet the personal beliefs, ethics, and actions of any artist, biblical or modern, can have a profound impact on the way we perceive their art. And this is the tension between the artist and the art. The Israeli Philharmonic Orchestra refuses to play the music of Richard Wagner, and that's a prime example of this tension. Wagner, as you may know, was a notorious anti-Semite whose music was associated with the rise of Nazi Germany. And despite his musical genius, many Jewish musicians and audiences find it difficult to separate his music from his abhorrent beliefs and actions. The Israeli Philharmonic's decision not to play Wagner's music is an expression of their resolve to neither honor nor celebrate an artist whose views are in direct conflict with their own. However, tension between art and artists is certainly not limited to anti-Semitism. Shlomo Carlebach, for example, is considered by many to be the foremost Jewish religious songwriter of the 20th century. As a famous rabbi, singer, and songwriter, he faced many allegations of horrific sexual misconduct. Yet despite these accusations, his fans and his followers continue to listen to and appreciate his music. Conversely, many synagogues in our movement banded together to abstain from using his music for an entire year. While this act of restraint raised awareness around Karl Bach's immorality, an unintended consequence was the devastation of his daughter Neshama Karl Bach's concert career, as she has taken her father's music and made a living in beautifully rearranging his melodies. Let's be clear, sexual misconduct is a disgusting action, and its victims are forever scarred. And in this circumstance, one of the many ripple effects included Neshama needing to burden the immorality of her father's actions. So what can we take away from these examples? In the tension between an art and an artist, it's not easily resolved, and we as individuals must decide for ourselves whether we are able to separate an artist's personal beliefs and actions from their art. Should we strive to appreciate art for its own sake and not let our opinion of the artist govern our perceptions of their work? Do we allow for teshuvah, for one's forgiveness, for those who do the work to improve their moral character? Does time heal wounds? Is there a timeline after which we would reintroduce an artist's work back into our lives? Perhaps when said artist can no longer benefit from financial gain. Perhaps when said artist is no longer with us. While I don't condone ignorance, I do believe that our expression of art has the power to transcend its creator's politics and personal beliefs. When we listen to a beautiful melody, read a moving poem, or admire an intricate painting, we can travel to a deeper valley or a higher plane than politics or ideology can reach. In the same way that the priestly garments in this week's Torah portion were meant to elevate the spiritual experience of the priests and the community, art has the ability to elevate our souls and to connect us, I believe, to something greater than ourselves. American philosopher and art critic Arthur C. Danto offers this consideration. He writes, "Works of art are always products of a certain cultural context, but to appreciate them only in terms of that context is to miss their larger significance as objects of contemplation and reflection. The value of art lies in what it reveals about the human experience, not in the particular historical circumstances of the artist. In the same way, art can unite us and transcend our differences." This idea is exemplified by the song "God Bless the USA" by Lee Greenwood, which I'd considered using as part of the Stand Up to Anti-Semitism service that we held last weekend. Even though I believed it to be the best song for the moment, I was swayed by doubt and ultimately opted not to use the song because of its songwriter's ties to divisive politicians and partisan history. I capitulated under the tension between the art and its artist. To sing this song for the anti-hate service without providing a context would have given rise to further misunderstanding. But here, in this sanctuary, where one can frame a song with its origin story and in the context of multiple perspectives, hopefully without judgment, allows for the song to affirm its original artistic message. Greenwood wrote this song with his veteran father in mind. His initial intention was to unite Americans after the Korean Flight 007 was shot down by Soviet forces in 1983. You might remember that 269 passengers were perished. I recognize now that God Bless the USA is more than its past usage or Greenwood's beliefs. It's an anthem for many Americans, a celebration of values that we hold dear as a nation. It speaks to the pride that we feel in our country and the sacrifices that have been made to protect our freedoms. Regardless of our political belief or views on specific policies, this song, at face value, has the power to bring us together and remind us of the ideals that we share. We are a community that works to seek justice. We confront hate and bigotry and wrongdoing. We also grapple with nuanced perspectives of art, culture, and music. That is the gift that we bear in this community. That is the gift that we receive as patriotic Americans. God bless us and God bless this beautiful country. Shabbat Shalom. If tomorrow all the things were gone I'd worked for all my life, and I had to start again with just my children and my wife, I'd thank my lucky stars to be living here today, 'cause the flag still stands for freedom and they can't take that away. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the folks who died, who gave that right to me. And I'll gladly stand up next to you and defend her to today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. God shed his grace on thee and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea. To be an American, where at least I know I'm free, and I won't forget the folks who died, who gave that right to me, and I gladly stand up next to you and Let us adore the ever-living God and render praise unto you, who spread out the heavens and established the earth, whose glory is revealed in the heavens above, and whose greatness is manifest throughout the world. You are our God. There is none else. Va'anachnu koreim umishtachavim umodim.
We continue responsively on the top of page 233. Eternal God, we face the morrow with hope made stronger by the vision of your deliverance, a world where poverty and war are banished, where injustice and hate are gone. Teach us more and more to respond to the pain of others, to heed your call for justice, that we may bring nearer that day when all the world shall be one. On that day, the age-old dream shall come true. On that day, O God, you shall be one, and your name shall be one. It is a fearful thing to love what death can touch, a fearful thing to love, hope, dream, to be, and oh, to lose. A thing for fools this, and a holy thing to love. For your life has lived in me, your laugh once lifted me, your word was gift to me. To remember this brings painful joy. 'Tis a human thing, love, a holy thing, to love what death has touched. On this Shabbat, the anniversary week of his passing, we recall the wonderful life and the great rabbinate of Rabbi Nathan A. Perelman, who served our congregation with great dedication from 1932 until his retirement in 1973. Our community cherished Rabbi Perelman's wisdom, wit, and goodness. He combined elegance and polish with the down-to-earth warmth that he learned in his native Marietta, Ohio. Following his ordination in 1932 from Hebrew Union College, he came here to Temple Emanu-El and this was the only congregation that he ever served. He did just what God wanted him to do. He comforted the bereaved, he brought abundant joy to every simcha, and he taught people of all ages, including the very youngest Jews. He was a wonderful preacher, a learned teacher, and an inspiration to so many. We think of others who were near to us, whose lives and legacies continue to move us long after their deaths. On this Shabbat, the Temple Emanu-El community remembers Theodore Ain, Grace Barrett, Anne Berg, Sylvia Berger, Ralph Borod, Francis Cristofaro, Max Citron, Stephen Danson, Munya Darren Sheehan, Ali W. DeGrazia, Frida Dumas, Elizabeth Maud Eidersheim, Leonora Edlow, Richard M. Estes, Xenia Fain, Frida Furman, Sadie Geller, Gitta Glasman, Eleanor Gorochow, Henry Grunwald, Doris Siegler Harlan, A. Harry Kleiman, Bernice Klein, Florence Klein, Bernice Kramer, Phyllis Landis, Anna Leibowitz, Marlene Newman Levens, Jan Lewinson, Barbara K. Lipman, Arthur Mayer, Robert Keith Marshall, Florence Powell Siegel, Jacob Radum, Dorothy B. Robbins, Joan Long Solomon, Walter A. Samuels, Francine Schechter, Howard Schwartzberg, John Lawrence Cheval, Terry Starr, Helen S. Stone, Peter Strauss, Jerome Tarnoff, Ina Teichberg, Alex Weintraub, Judith White, Adam Wyganaski. If you are in recent mourning, please rise now. And if you are observing a yahrzeit, the anniversary of a loved one's death, please rise. And now we all rise as one community. The words to the Mourner's Kaddish can be found on page 245. We say together, Yitkadal v'yitkadash shmei rabbah, be'almad divrach yeroteh v'yamlich malchuteh, v'chayachon uvyomechon u'chayeh d'chol beit Yisrael, ba'agala uvizman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mivarach le'olam ulamei almaya. Yit barach v'yish tabach v'yit pa'ar v'yit ramam v'yit naseh v'yit hadar v'yit aleh v'yit halal shmei d'kudsha b'rechu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechamata damiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, huya aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn and comfort to all who are bereaved. Amen. Shabbat Shalom once again. It is so good to be here with all of you. Temple Emanu-El is a house of prayer for all people, and all who would worship with us in peace are welcome. The most important announcement is that our Purim celebrations begin tomorrow. So tomorrow at 9:30 a.m., we will have a family Purim spiel based on the movie Encanto. That will lead into a Purim carnival for members of all ages, which will include a ball pit, costumed characters, crafts, and carnival food. And tomorrow at our... Oh, I'm sorry, it's Sunday. This is Sunday, not tomorrow. Thank you. Sunday, this is all Sunday. And also Sunday at our downtown campus, there will be a Jazz Age Purim party beginning at 4 p.m. And on Monday, March 6th at 7:30 is our adults-only Purim party with a Megillah reading, DJ, live music performance from the Maccabeats, and Hamantaschen bar. So something for everyone. Also next week, Thursday, March 9th at 11 a.m., Women of Emanu-El book group with Rabbi Davidson will be talking about Aviva Zornberg's book, The Hidden Order of Intimacy, Reflections of the Book of Leviticus. And next Friday is one of the teen community's most meaningful programs, the Midnight Run. Temple teens in grades 8 through 12 are invited to participate. More information about these events and many others on our website, emmanuelnyc.org. We continue with Kiddush on page 246.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kirishanu b'mitzvotav v'ratza banu, v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava u'b'ratzon hinchilanu, zikaron lema'aseh bereishit, ki hu yom techila למקרא קודש, זכר לציון מצרים. Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz.
Please rise for our closing song, Adon Olam, page 254.
Adon olam asher malach b'terem kol yitzir nivra le'et nasa v'chefso kol azai melech shemo nikra azai melech shemo nikra be'acharei kiklot hakol levado yimloch nora hu haya vehu hove vehu yeh betipara vehu yeh betipara beyado avkid ruchi be'et ishan be'aira ואמרוכי גביעתי, אדוני לי ולא אירא, אדוני לי ולא אירא. יברכך אדוני וישמרך.
May God bless you and keep you.
יאר אדוני פניו אליך ויחונך.
May the light of God's presence shine upon you and be gracious to you.
יישא אדוני פניו אליך וישם לך שלום.
May God bestow favor upon you and give you peace.